Now that is the episode we have all been waiting for. Hey guys, coming around for Supergirl Season 1, Episode 7, Human for a Day, and I was definitely looking forward to this episode. Just from the title, it sounds really interesting. Sure, it's the cliched, oh, they get their superpowers taken away, and they have to live without it, but honestly, that's a very interesting subject, and there's a lot you can do with that. I mean, when you're a superhero, you're used to having these powers, you're used to helping people and saving people. What would you do if it was taken away? And this is probably one of the best examples I've seen that because by far this was the best episode of the season. I loved every minute of this episode. There were so many great things about this episode. Just so much exposition in this episode in general, but it was exposition that we needed. We got character development in this episode. We found some huge twists in this episode, which I absolutely loved. And by far, really had, I think, the best acting we've had out of everyone in this show. And I really loved every minute of this episode. But let's just get into it. There's a lot to get into. And I know I am behind on one episode. I am going to watch the finale right after this review, so that way I can review it to you guys probably tomorrow. And let's just get into this episode. So we see in her fortress room, the Allura program explains Kara's power lost to her, because of course, as we know, Kara got her powers taken away in the last episode because of her just fully raging on Red Tornado and basically just giving out her energy. It went out. It really did. I mean, she just had so much aggression that it went out. So she says that her powers should now I like that we saw this Allura program again because they've talked about it before, but we really haven't seen a lot. And I feel like now we're really gonna start to see it a lot. And I feel like at this point in the show, they're kind of trying to figure out what's working because they've heard people's complaints. They've heard people are saying, and now they're realizing, okay, this is what people like, this is what people don't like. And you really do see that throughout this episode. And I love seeing that. So she says that her powers should return soon, that she should lean on those she trusts in the meantime. And Kara thanks her. So Kara's worried there's been a couple days and she hasn't recovered her powers yet. And obviously, this is a problem for her. I mean, she was told she's going to get it back. And she really doesn't know how to go on. I mean, that is a good question. How do you recover from something like this? Not having your powers, it is something that is substantial to her, and it is something that she needs, so how does she recover from that? So Henshaw asks her how she's doing, and Kara says fine. Alex says she should go enjoy being human for a day, and, that she should just enjoy it, and try to live with it, that there shouldn't be too much to worry about. And Henshaw tells Alex to hurry back with a help with an unruly guest. So after Henshaw leaves, Alex continues to tell Kara that she's very suspicious of Hank and that she really doesn't trust him right now. And that she knows that he is definitely hiding something. And he is. We'll get into that. I know you guys want me to talk about that. So, that was also very interesting. I really like that we got a lot more with Henshaw in this episode. So at work, Kara has a cold, which never happens to her. That's one of the things that her powers did, is that it always kept her from getting sick. And she explains to Winn that she blew out her powers fighting Red Tornado, and Cat comes into work demanding to know who's sneezing, and tells Kara to go home. She's freaking out because she has never seen Kara sick, and she basically just tells her to go home, get some rest, because she never gets sick before. And by the way, by far, Cat's best episode. I mean, I know I said the Thanksgiving one was. No, this was Cat's best episode. We will get into why. So at a DEO facility, an alien keeps trying to blast his way out of a glass cage. He identifies himself as Gem, conqueror of 12 worlds, among other things. And Henshaw isn't impressed and tells him that he's not particularly worried about Gem trying to use psychic powers since the cell has neural shielding, so it really shouldn't be a problem. So Gem threatens to grind Henshaw's loved ones to dust, and Henshaw says that there are none left to grind, that he really doesn't have any loved ones, and that Gem coming after him is pretty much useless because he doesn't have anyone. Now, this was a very interesting scene. I really like seeing this, and it is kind of interesting when we find out what's actually going on with Henshaw. We'll get into that. But Gem as a villain, by far the best villain we've had in the show. I mean, he was creepy, he wasn't cheesy, he was very motivated, and you clearly saw what his goal was. I mean, clearly he wanted to go after them and just prove a challenge to them, and he was definitely a very good villain. And especially because Supergirl's not here. That really what makes this episode so great is that Supergirl, Kara being Supergirl, she can't be Supergirl in this episode. So a lot of them have to fight without her, and that's why I think this villain was so threatening. So outside Catco, Kara and James bump into one another. He says he and Lucy are getting a place together, and Kara feigns enthusiasm. She's obviously not happy because you can tell she still has feelings for James, and she sneezes, and James guesses it's the solar flare power that blew them out, that's what it is, and as they're discussing that the world can survive without Supergirl for one day, an earthquake hits and tears up the street they're on. James has to save Kara from being hit by a car, which was incredible to watch. I mean, we're so used to Kara being able to lift cars and just save herself, that actually having to see James save her was really great to see, and it didn't come across as damsel in distress. That's something I was happy about. It didn't really come across away. It just came across as Kara really can't do much because she doesn't have her powers, and without her powers, there's really nothing she can do. So unfortunately, she's kind of useless right now, and it's sad to see because this is what makes Kara, is that she has her powers and she doesn't really know who she is without them. So while Alex and Henshaw are preparing to clean Jem's cage, the earthquake hits and they lose power and Jem escapes. And you really start to see how menacing Jem is here. And near Catco, James uses his shirt to make a sling for Kara's arm, which he worries might be broken. Again, when she was Supergirl, she could heal very easily, but not having her powers, she can't heal. She will get hurt, and I seriously thought something very bad was going to happen to her here. So the city around them is in complete mayhem and complete chaos, and Alex calls Kara from the DEO and tells her to call as soon as her powers come back, and basically that they need her, as soon as possible because there's definitely a dangerous threat out in the world. So Kat comes out, tells anyone who wants to be with their families to go home. She takes a picture of whoever does and then insists whoever's still there needs to get the network back online. And despite before our estimate, Winn does so in moments, which is awesome. I love how Winn can just hack into computers. It's awesome to watch. And again, I know people don't really talk about Winn as a character. I just really love his character. I think Jeremy Jordan is just doing a great job, and I've loved him from the start. I really have. I really feel like Winn is one of the more underrated characters on this show. So at the DEO, Henshaw and Alex seek out Allura for advice, and she gathers a team to go after Jem with psychic disruptor helmets. He leaves Alex behind to keep an eye on the main room, saying that he needs someone on the other end that he can trust, and obviously trust Alex. So at Catco, they see Max Lord on TV, basically attacking Supergirl. Now, what he says for, I think, is very interesting what he says, that Supergirl is not really a superhero for not really being there, and that they don't, that she clearly doesn't care about them, and that she's not really a superhero. And the car decides that she and James are going to go stop him from spreading panic, and Max Lord really becomes a lot more interesting in this episode. I haven't been too keen on the way they've been writing his character. He seemed kind of just like the dick of the show, but he's a lot more than that. You really do see a lot more of how Max Lord really does feel about Supergirl in this episode and why he truly does feel about her that way, which I really love that they did that. So at the DEO, Jem takes out the two men with Henshaw after Henshaw himself vanishes, which we will get into why. So on the streets of National City, James and Kara come to see Maxwell, and she tells Max that people need hope instead of fear, but Lord says he's just countering Cat's Supergirl branding with his own so that people realize that people can help them, not aliens. He doesn't want an alien to help them. He wants, people to take a stand. He says he believes Supergirl's lost her powers permanently and that she's not going to get them back, and he wants the city to fight without her, which in itself is a very good plan, because right now the city is kind of useless without Supergirl, and he's trying to tell them, look, we don't need Supergirl. Even though Supergirl is gone, he's basically trying to boost their confidence. Even though he's bashing her, he's doing it in a way to show that they don't need her, which is very smart in his regard, I will definitely say, and really made me be like, you know what, his character is actually a lot better than I thought he was. He's a lot more better. He's a lot, he's written a lot more. He's not just some guy that's bashing Supergirl. He's bashing her to get people to realize that they can survive without her, which I think is very interesting. So at the DEO, Henshaw comes in the main room and tells Alex that Jem read the mind of the head of security and has the ability to open any cell in the place. He's going after Jem with the last neural inhibitor and needs Alex to hold down the force. So, on the streets, Lord helps a man who's on the ground with a heart attack. His daughter wonders where Supergirl is, but Lord says that he's their best bet and that they don't need her. So, I like that Lord is trying to save people, but honestly, again, they don't have the powers that Supergirl does, but they can help out people like Supergirl can. There are just certain things they can't do. Obviously, they can't fly, they can't lift cars, they can't save people, they can't save cats from trees, they can't do that sort of thing. But they can do what they can, and I like how he's saying that they should try to do something, and that they shouldn't just expect Supergirl to help them out. In many ways, he's complimenting Supergirl. In many ways, he's being like, you know what, Supergirl's not really a superhero because she just does the things that we do more advanced, and we really should be thanking her for what she's doing, rather than just, completely forgetting, completely just relying on her to do everything, which in itself is terrible for them to do, just completely relying on her, not having them, do their own thing. and be completely helpless is not what he wants. He wants the city to fight for themselves, which is awesome, and I love seeing that. So on the street, the man who has collapsed is likely to die. He lacerated a vein, and they can't find which one without an x-ray. And Kara tries to use her x-ray vision, but it won't work, and Max gives up and completely he leaves. He leaves after this, and basically he doesn't think this is going to work. So at the DEO, Alex tells another agent that she doesn't trust Henshaw whatsoever and that they need to go take care of Jem themselves, which was very smart of Alex. I mean, just the way that Henshaw's acting. He's acting very shady, not wanting to help them, letting her do things. It just doesn't seem like there's just not something adding up here. She doesn't know what it is. She just knows that she can't trust Henshaw right now, and for whatever reason, he's just not someone that she can rely on. So basically, at Catco, Winn can't get the live feed in Kat's office to work. She threatens and then lectures him, which I thought was a pretty funny scene here. Finally figures it out, and she sends him to find somebody to do her makeup, and basically, outside Kara cries over her inability to help the man in the streets, and I loved this scene with Kara. Melissa Benoist really sold this scene here. I mean, she's a great actress, and she really sold it here. James comes to comfort her. She tells him that she's heartbroken to have the best weeks of her life and her ability to do something positive taken away. And she said that, her being Supergirl has been the best weeks of her life. And this is a huge character moment for Kara because back in the first season, she really didn't want to be Supergirl. Back in the beginning of the season, she really didn't want to be Supergirl. She didn't want to do all this stuff. She didn't know how to do what she was doing, if you remember. So James tries to talk her out of it, but she continues to spiral, wondering if Max is right about her powers. And James tells her that not even Superman can save everyone, but a real hero never stops trying. And I do agree. I mean, a hero is not just about powers and what you can do. It's about your spirit. It's about your motivation. This is a very good example of that. Kara needs to use her motivation to become Supergirl again. That's what she needs to do. Use her motivation in a positive way. That's what she becomes Supergirl, and I thought that was awesome, and I love seeing that. So just then, she hears a stick-up in progress, and over James' objections, goes to get her costume, and in the hallway, as the DEO, Alex and the other agents recover the neural inhibitors from the fallen agents, but Jem starts mind-controlling Donovan before he can get his on, and I thought it was awesome that Jem could just mind-control people like this. He tries his best to resist Jem, points his gun at Alex, and tells her to run. So Supergirl walks into a store as it's being robbed, tells the robber she doesn't want to hurt these people, and on the air, Kat call, and I love this scene with Supergirl, just her returning, being like, I don't want to hurt these people, I don't want to do anything bad. So on the air, Kat calls for people to rise up and be bared in the face of the crisis. She uses Supergirl as a rallying cry. And by the way, Calista Flockhart, amazing in the scene. This was the scene where I really realized that Calista Flockhart is a very good actress. I've not seen Ally McBeal. I'm never going to watch that show. It just isn't a show that's ever interested me. And because of that, I didn't know how great of an actress Calista Flockhart was, mainly because I didn't really feel like they were using her that well. And honestly, I think she's been a bit underused up to this point. And now they're really using Kat's and Calista Flockhart's talents in the best way possible, because this scene really was incredible. I'm like, wow, this is just an awesome scene here. She used Supergirl's rallying cry while Supergirl herself talks Robert out of it, saying she believes the people are better than this, and as she does so, James takes the photo of the man, handing over his gun, and the way that Supergirl was able to get the Robert to not hurt people, to show that they are there, and that, he's only doing this because Supergirl is not there, was an incredible scene. I love that. And she says, look, I know you have a family to protect, but you have to be the hero. You have to be the one to tell yourself not to do this, and you have to do this in a positive way. And I loved seeing that. Yes, it's a cliched message, but they really made it work, I have to say. I mean, it could have been a very cliched message, but it really worked in the sense of just, you need to step up. You need to be the hero and not allow someone else to be the hero. I think we as human beings in general don't want to do that. We don't want to do things for ourselves. We want someone to do it for us just because it's easier. And we get into this routine of just, people doing things for us and us relying on people when we really could be doing it for ourselves and don't really think about it. And I really feel that's the big message of this episode that I really love seeing. So, at the DEO, Alex works her way through the halls and is tackled into a room by Henshaw. She admits Donovan is dead and then gets a call from him, but it's really Jem, which Henshaw knows. And Jem says he plans to free the prisoners. Henshaw starts preparing to leave the control room, but Alex makes him handcuff himself to a wall, calls Jem and tells him to come to the control room. And I love that Alex pretty much just takes over this entire thing, which was awesome to watch. So at Catco, James and Kara talk about the picture he took of her, and she asks what his first photo was, and he says it was of his father right before he left for the Gulf War. We get gets some really good development with James here. He talks about his father never, left for the Gulf War, and he never came home. And after that, he said he never put the camera down. He says that's when you take a picture of someone, you capture permanently the truth of a given moment. And that's true. Why do we take pictures? Memories. That's what they're for. They're for memories. They're for remembering things. And this is a very good example of that. He took these pictures to remember his father and to keep that legacy. And he tells her that she can remember from this photo that she doesn't need powers to be a hero. She hugs him, and Winn walks in with Superman's DEO file. He tells Kara that she might get her powers back if they're kickstarted by an adrenaline rush, because she got them taken away by an adrenaline rush. So he walks out upset, not knowing if this is going to work, and Kara chases after Winn, trying to calm him down, and I loved the scene with Winn here. You can tell that Winn, this is one of the second times that Winn basically is trying to tell her that he wants to be with her, and Kara chases after Winn, trying to calm him down. Winn tells her that James has a girlfriend and that she won't ever have a normal life once she gets her powers back, and that's, the superhero never gets the girl. That's just how it is. That she'll never get she'll never, just like the superhero never gets the girl, Supergirl will never get the guy, and that's just how it's going to be. So I really love that scene with Winn. I thought that was really great stuff. And in many ways, it's him trying to say, like, I want you to be normal, and the reason I know we're not going to work out is because you're normal. You can tell, again, many times this season, Winn has tried to confess his love for Kara in very subtle ways, and this is one of the ways I feel like he's going to do that. And I definitely feel like the next episode, I don't know if it happens, but I feel like this mid-season finale, he's going to confess his love for Kara. Definitely that's going to happen. So there are a pair of explosions which Kara hears, realizes it's probably the gas line. Winn calls police above them in the skyscraper. Kara starts trying to figure out how to get them down, and at the DEO, Jem comes looking for Alex, who has a gun trained on him. He commands her to show herself, but she shoots him instead, then sets off some explosions. He tries to blast her with a beam from the gem in his forehead, but it misses her, and she keeps shooting at him, finally knocking the gem out. He keeps coming, she keeps shooting, but eventually knocks her down, is going after her. So suddenly, a scaffold falls down in front of him, and he's tackled by something, and once Jem is unconscious, it's clear that Henshaw is the one that attacked him. He turns on the lights and tells Alex that he's not the enemy, and that Alex should trust him. So at Catco, James is going to try and scale the elevator shaft to help the people upstairs. Kara objects, but he goes anyway since the people above can't get open themselves. While Kara and Winn watch, James forces the doors open and evacuates the floor. He's the last one left above when another blast rocks the building and he falls, saving himself on the elevator cables. Very thrilling scene. I didn't know what was going to happen here, really. So watching James fail to reach the floor of the ladder and about to fall to his death, Kara's powers return, and I love seeing that. I love that basically seeing one of her friends in danger, that was the adrenaline rush that she needed, and she didn't need a big fight. One of her friends was in danger, that's what she needed to do, and in many ways, Jem was the one that helped her get her powers back, and I don't know if that was what he meant to do, but he did. So she can feel his strength returning and then flies to save him. James and Winn send her out to help the city at large, and Supergirl saves a falling school bus, puts out a high-rise fire, flies over the head of an exasperated Max Lord, and she basically is going to do all the damage, she's basically going to repair all the damage that she couldn't when she was away. So Alex calls her, tells her that they're all okay at the DEO and that they'll talk soon. She goes into this closet room with Henshaw, and we get this incredible scene from Henshaw. This scene was just great. I loved it. We've known something has been going on with Henshaw. His eyes have been glowing red. There's just been stories about him. It hasn't sounded very trustworthy. There's just been something off about him, and Alex doesn't know what it is. Alex is convinced that he killed Jeremiah. He killed their father. But what's going on with Henshaw is actually a lot more interesting. I thought he was just going to be the Wells of this show, that it was going to be a Harrison Wells situation. Luckily, it's not that at all, and that's a good thing in terms of Supergirl, because The Flash is just a more scientific show, and Supergirl is not. And what happens with Henshaw, I think, is a lot more interesting, and I'm very interested in seeing how they go about this, because the way this, what we find out here, I think is really great. And the actor that plays Hank Henshaw, I don't know his name, Makad Brooks, that's who plays him, Makad Brooks. No, that's the guy that played James. I don't know who plays Hank Henshaw, but whoever plays him did an incredible job in this scene and really was fantastic. So he tells her straight out, he says, I am not Hank Henshaw, and I'm like, what? Then who are you? So again, guys, I haven't read the comics, so now I did hear they changed something about this in the comics. We'll get into that. Basically, we found that Henshaw died at the same time as Jeremiah, and the DEO was tracking a lost alien who Henshaw found in Peru, and Jeremiah Danvers objected and tried to stop Henshaw from killing the alien, which was a refugee, the sole survivor of a lost world, not a threat, and Henshaw was obsessed, and Jeremiah died trying to stop Henshaw. Henshaw wanted to kill this alien, but Jeremiah didn't, and he tried to stop Henshaw, and he tells us that Danvers died a hero, and Alex Alex figures out that Henshaw is the alien. And he explains that he's a shapeshifter who assumed Henshaw's identity to reform the DO, and then he promised Danvers that he would take care of his daughter and he recruited her and protect her as his own child, which I thought was very interesting. And that really shows why he's been so protective of Kara, because he was meant to look after her like she was his own child, which makes a lot of sense. And I think it makes his character in general a lot more interesting. Why has he been so protective of her? Why has he been acting like this, like, he's above her? Because he is. He's been assigned to protect her. And even though she's more powerful than he is, that's just what he's been assigned. And he doesn't want to let Danvers down. Even though Danvers is dead, he doesn't want to let him down. So we find out his real name is John Jones, the sole survivor of Mars, and apparently this is much different than what happened in the comic. I believe in the comic he turned out to be the cyborg Superman, which is interesting, but I actually really like seeing this because it ties in better to the character of, it just ties better to the show overall, and the CGI on him looked awesome, I have to say. I mean, he looked awesome as the alien. I can't wait to see how they go about this, because this really made things a lot more interesting with Henshaw. I was worried that things were going to be not resolved and that this was going to be something really stupid, but no, they actually made it very interesting. I am definitely interested in seeing how they handle this, because this is one of the most interesting twists they've brought to the show so far, definitely, and I love seeing that. So, at Catco, Kara invites Winn to her home, and he declines, saying he's never disappointed in Supergirl, but he was disappointed in her. He was disappointed in her today, mainly because she didn't probably notice that he was trying to ask her out, and he just doesn't want to get involved. So later that night, and it's really sad, I have to say, I feel very bad for him. So later that night, Supergirl arrives outside Cat's window where she demands to know why Supergirl abandoned them, and Supergirl tells Cat that they don't always need a Supergirl, that Cat inspired both humanity and Supergirl, and I love what Supergirl says. Yes, it was a bit on the nose, I will say that. I can understand if someone's like, well, that's just a bit on the nose, but it really was just, I think, trying to encompass the main theme of this episode, which was all about selflessness and not letting someone do something for you and just knowing when to get involved, and that really was what this episode was all about, and I love seeing that. And then the ending of this episode, she leaves, she's flying through the sky, but then she's attacked by 3 Kryptonians, including Astra, who are going to hold her hostage. I don't know what's going to happen here, but that's how this episode ends, and what an incredible episode this was. Really, this was a great episode. I loved every minute of this episode. I mean, definitely, this was right up there with the Thanksgiving episode. I was worried that we weren't going to get as good as an episode as that, because the Thanksgiving episode was just so great that I didn't know if we were going to get an episode better. But this episode really was better in terms of everything, in terms of acting, in terms of character development, in terms of story. We just got everything. Seeing how some stuff turns out in this, in the finale. First of all, what does Astra want with Supergirl? We don't really know exactly what her plan is yet. And I'm happy we're getting back to this, because it feels like we kind of deviate away from Astra. That Astra has seemed like the villain of the show, but we really haven't focused on her a lot. And now it's definitely time to focus more on her, because we're getting to the mid-season finale. And I hope that this really does pay off. I hope this isn't just something where it's the mid-season finale, so we have to do something with her. I hope this really works out well, because this could go in a very cliche direction. I really hope it doesn't. Now let's talk about John Jones. Jones as a character, I'm very interested in exploring his origin, finding out more about him, finding out what he's going to do now that Kara has kind of made a life for herself. Again, he was assigned to protect Kara when she doesn't really need his protection, so what exactly he's going to do? I mean, he told Alex straight out, do not tell Kara. I don't see Alex not keeping this from Kara. I see Alex telling Kara at some point. I don't think she's going to tell her yet, but definitely some point down the road, this is going to come up, and Kara's got to find out. I mean, Kara's not stupid. She's going to find out at some point that this is Henshaw, and that Henshaw's actually Jones. I mean, she doesn't know who John Jones is, but she's definitely going to find out at some point. I love the development of Winn in this episode. Do you think Winn truly does have feelings for Kara? I think he does. I think he wants to be with her. It is a love triangle, but it's really not, because Kara just doesn't feel that way about Winn. She sees him as her best friend, and that's all she sees him as. She sees James as definitely more of a love interest, and you definitely see that here. And yeah, it's kind of stupid. I can understand someone's like, oh, this is stupid conflict. I think they're handling it well. I really think they are. I think they're handling it in a good way. I'm enjoying the way that it's written. I think it's overall very interesting. Let's talk about Maxwell Lord, because I'm really liking his character a lot more, I have to say. Obviously, he thought that Supergirl, they didn't need her, and that they could just, they were fine without her. what exactly is going to happen here? Because I'm very interested in seeing how he goes about this now that Supergirl is back. Is he going to try to one-up her? I mean, there are many things that he could do. I kind of feel like he's going to try to show that, look, Supergirl might be, fighting, but we don't really need her because we saved, the town on our own without her, and we could have done the same thing that she did. So who really knows what Max Valor is going to do? That's going to be very interesting to see what's going on. I really like the way that they're writing him as a character. Cat in general is becoming a lot more interesting as well. I kind of feel like Maxwell is going to use Cat in a way maybe to turn against Supergirl. I'm not really sure what happens. I do know something that happens in the episode, which I don't want to spoil. I will talk about my next episode in my next review for the next episode. But overall, guys, absolutely incredible episode. I was so impressed by this episode. I loved it so much more than every episode we've had so far. I love the character of Jem as well. I thought he was a great villain, just the way he helped out Kara in many ways, and the way that he, just the villain in general, awesome villain. It wasn't cheesy. It made his character a lot more interesting. I definitely loved seeing that. Definitely. Are we going to see flashbacks of Jones' origin? I'm sure we're going to at some point. We have to, obviously. John Jones is not a character a lot of people know about, and we need to find out more about him. And I hope they explore him like they did the character of Eobard Thawne, because that's what made his character so interesting, is his origin, what he's trying to do to the Flash, and I hope what's going on with Supergirl is just as interesting. But what I like about this is that John Jones is not the bad guy. Laura is, Astra is the bad guy. John Jones is not the bad guy here. John Jones is simply just someone that's looking after Kara, and that he's just looking after her, treating her like a daughter, just basically fulfilling the promise that he made to Jeremiah. That's all he's doing, and he doesn't want to disappoint Jeremiah, and I love seeing that. I think they're really handling that very, very well. But overall, guys, let me know what you guys saw this episode. I was so impressed by this episode. Such a big improvement over the weak episodes we've been having. These past two have been kind of weak, and I definitely really love this episode a lot more. I really hope the finale doesn't let me down, but I will see you guys in my next show, which will be for the mid-season finale of Supergirl, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.